Kids, I'm gonna tell you an incredible story. The story of how I met your mother.
Are we being punished for something?
No.
Yeah, is this gonna take a while?
Yes.
25 years ago, before I was dead, I had this whole other life. It was way back in 1998, when I was 17. It was both the greatest and worst time of my life, since I was trying to destroy myself with way too much drugs. And then your mom showed up. But wait, we'll get to that later. Cause if you really want to understand how I met your mother, you need to go way back in time. Even further than the moment your grandparents made your grandparents, or were born themselves. The list goes on, of course, cause why stop at all? We can't before we hit the end, or the beginning in this matter. We need to go way beyond the first humans, the first animals, plants, all different shapes of water combined with other basic elements. Even beyond the birth of planets out of star heat and stars out of tiny matter. So this ultimately leads us way back to the beginning of everything. At that moment in space and time, or pre-time, we might even find the creator of the universe. If God exists, he must have been around there somewhere. When I was your age, I asked my dad what happened there. At the Big Bang, or even before that, at the beginning of space-time. It was the first time he didn't have an answer right away, and not even the next day. It took me 35 years to find an answer to this question, mainly because nobody knows it. And I'm still not certain everything I'm gonna say is true. Or wait, I am quite certain that not everything I'm gonna say is true. Well, at least we found something for sure. This portrait of God isn't true either, but it gives a nice overview of 8 different ways you can think about him, or her, or it. There are no gender questions at the beginning of time, we are all the same. Nobody knows what happened exactly, or at least your dad thinks he does, so stay with me on this one. If we want to talk about God, we first have to find out if God already existed at the beginning of it all, and maybe still even exists today. To keep it simple, let's see what happens when we just answer this question with yes and no. Does God exist? Well, yes, for sure, says the fundamentalist. No, he sure doesn't, says the atheist. 2 ends of the short string called God. Though they couldn't be further apart, they also have something in common. A fundamentalist is very certain his God exists, and should therefore be taken as the ground floor on which life and society plays out. On the other hand, hardliner atheists are just as certain God doesn't exist, nor has existed ever, and therefore refuses any attempt to build a community on his divinity. Now, let's look at why they both got the wrong answer. Philosophically speaking, fundamentalists and atheists are both so blinded by their beliefs that they have drifted far away from the truth. I'm sure he exists sounds just as extreme as no, he certainly does not. So, although atheists are probably right we shouldn't fight about which God has the longest beard, well, probably God doesn't have a beard at all, it's harder to follow their claim that God doesn't exist at all. Even if God's favorite location is the inside of somebody's mind, God is very real for believers. I myself didn't get a godly upraising from grandpa and grandma, but I see God as the creator of the universe at least, even if that means God may be nothing more than a spot of nothingness and hope. God exists more than he does not. Let's just find a better description than the ones they came up with until now. Sorry kids, I'm moving too fast. For the majority of the world still believes in a creator who is always by their side, even after death. They can't all be wrong, right? God, I wish they weren't. I'm so sorry. For my young friends around the world who still believe in God as the owner of this place to go after life, I really wish I could tell you heaven exists. An eternal life in one place is not scary at all, be it just a bit boring. The good news is, hell doesn't exist either. I'm sure. Our religion, people may respond somewhere back on Earth as a little bit more advanced human or close to it. Let's see if we can pull that off without it sounding crazy. Without this world becoming one of the basic states of the Matrix. You'll see that movie when you grow up, realizing there is no Matrix, no illusion or real world behind this world. This is our reality. This is our reality. And that's great. Or as humanists would say, think for yourself. Act with people as equals, no matter the religion, race, gender or education. Let's not focus on the afterlife, but on trying to make this life as good and rewarding as possible. Seek happiness by learning from all the different forms of human exercise, like social skills, art, philosophy, masturbation. You live longer when you practice them, that basically makes them fundamental rights. Drifting off. Without God, there are no absolute rules, and this could be threatening and liberating at the same time. No worries, there are lots of guidelines to go by. Just start with love for yourself and others without being naive, and keep that positive energy. If God isn't in your head watching over you, it's about time you watch yourself. So, is that it? Once stories are broken down, is there nothing left? Isn't there something more to life? Well, the only position that will hold up in a philosophical courtroom is that even if you find God, you never really know for sure that it's Him at the same time. Unknowing. God may be too big to fit in our human brain. This agnostic position comes in two flavors. There's strawberry for the people who are unbothered with not knowing and move on without ever trying to find God again. And then you have strawberry cheesecake for the people who do agree that we can never really know a thing about God for certain, but still try to find clues of what God might look like. For all we know now, it is more likely that God does exist in some way or another. We could challenge ourselves to get as close as possible. Let us go on that adventure. Let us try to find something, cause just like the Dutch invention Eat System is saying, there must be something more to life than, well, nothing. Well, again, I don't know if it's more, but I did find a great spot with a lot of energy in it. And all I had to do is go back to zero. Let me take you kids and everyone who feels like now is a good time to search for God back in time. On this big adventure, camping trip, only your lame ass dad gets excited about. You wanna know why? I think I saw the birth of God. And later on, I can define three gods all reigning their separate kingdom. But first things first. So, we need to find some clues on God, the creative beginning of everything over nothing. If he or she or it needs to be born, then we need an answer to the question, how did the first power come to life? How did the first God create itself? He can't always have been there, that's logically impossible. Later, we'll go back to the beginning of time. But now, if a personal God is out of the picture, maybe God is in everything, as pantheists believe. That's a lot of God. So much, we might need a definition on what it actually means to be God. For now, let's go with the first mover of the universe, just as Aristotle did. The first one that put it into motion. The final clue comes from deist believers who try to find God by thinking as logical as we humans can. If you do like them, it seems logic that God is already around at the beginning of everything. The first spark that came out of nothing, some 13.8 billion years ago. The first cause, or unmoved mover as Aristotle calls it, actually moved something without being hit or touched or moved itself. This seemed impossible for ages. Just like pulling yourself from quicksand by pulling at your own hair. Not gonna work. Let's continue down that road in the next episode, where I show you how something comes from nothing. You came from nothing, just as God once did. Now go pack your bags so this can make sense. So let's go!